Yes, another day, another survival. All right, bless to everybody out there. This is in the stations. Um, another day, another survival. Bless to everybody out there in the stations. Today, I want to basically get some insight and give some insight on relationships versus the Bible. Now, I think the title says um, nature's relationship structure disrupted by the Bible. And what I mean by disrupted, I mean he got how should I say uh, got it got disturbed or shooken up, or it's like you have a box of puzzles and you shake it up, and you're just taking up random pieces. So basically, the Bible just turned relationship backwards. It just disrupted it. It made it confusing. It made it hard. It made it more difficult. It confused the people to feel as if relationships is complicated, or it's supposed to be. I mean, it's complicated to a degree, but not in the sense of the destruction to life disaster. It's complicated in the sense of the nature of how humans operate, how a woman operates, how the men operate, and we have to come together to, fix those complications, right? Because men and women are different, and we can have to put two different things together to work together, and then we have to find that mesh, that yin and yang. So, what I want to talk about today is Genesis, Genesis story versus nature, relationship versus nature, and we're gonna start off with Genesis. We're gonna start off with Genesis. So, in Genesis, you have two chapters. Chapter one, well, you have more than two chapters, but starting off of chapter one and chapter two. In chapter one, let me take you to chapter one. And there'll be verse. And verse 26. So, but before I read the chapter, I want to say this: like, subscribe. Feel free to make your comments. Um, uh, I'm kind of new to the whole. What just happened? What the hell? Anyway, um, yeah, I'm kind of new to the. I'm using my phone, so bear with me. I'm trying to learn how this thing works. Okay, yeah. So, what I was saying is that the disruption that the Bible brings to nature was in human behavior. Like I said, like I always say, everything on the planet Earth have a structure. When it comes to survival, when it comes to living, how we're supposed to operate, what his role is, the land of nature, what is the rule, what is the rule for surviving, or um, basically multiplying in the law of nature, right? Yeah, I can't really see where that chat was, but whoever that was, appreciate it. So what I'm going to say is this: if there was already a blueprint in nature, right, for humankind, relationships wise, why there have to be some? Okay, somebody came and said, you know what? I don't like how these people are living. I want to change it. You know what I'm saying? I want to disrupt it. I want to make it a little bit more entertaining. And I really think the Bible is for a lot of, is for destruction, really and truly. I think the Bible is for destruction. I need to change the color on my text because I can't see what y'all are writing. The page, is white, so same color as the text. So I might don't if I don't respond to your comments, I can't really see it too well. It's like the same color as this back screen, so I can't really see the comments. But anyway, yeah. So I was saying, right? Yeah. So if nature was already here, and somebody came and said, you know what, I want to make things a little more spicy. This nature thing ain't working for me. I want to cause some confusion. You know what I'm saying? And the first problem we have is that God said there was nobody on the planet Earth, and He made everything for the Earth to be what it is, and then He made man. He said, "Let us make man in our image." And I mean, man had to be here already, because hey, that's nature. In order for Him to tell the man to write it, man had to be here already. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, He said to let us make man in our image, and He's speaking of us, right? Yagnos of the angels, all of that good stuff. After our likeness. So man is gonna look exactly like God, which is, I guess, in human form, right? Besides that, besides the human form, we have to talk about the Homo erectuses and the homosynthesis and all those syntheses, right? The monkey people, or you know what I'm saying, the hairy looking people that look like monkeys. I guess he skipped those people because when he said like our image or in our likeness, did he had people look like monkeys at the time? And he didn't mention women. He didn't say like man and woman. He just said like us, right? All right, let's move forward. So he talked about them having dominion. Okay, they're gonna have dominion, and then all the creepy things and so forth, so forth. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? I think I lost the section I was looking for. Where was it? All right, so God created God created in His own image, and God created him, male and female. When he say him, male and female, is the male he is the he part, and the female the male part? So it's like female, but he just changed the H to a F. Or the translation was he is the man and the male is the female. See, that's I gotta pay attention to that part right there. I'm not too sure what was the representation there, but from my analyzation, I think the he is him as in the man, right? And then the him was the male as in female. Because based on the Genesis Bible, he said he created him. And then after the quotations, the stop, he said male and female to continue the conversation. So saying like he created him, Adam and Eve, or Adam and whoever. Like The first chapter didn't give them a name. This first chapter didn't. The first Genesis never gave them a name. So I don't want to give them a name. But he just said he, him. And my translation is the he is the male, and the is basically the man, right? And the him is the representation of the female. And then God blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominions over everything on the planet Earth. Right? We're not going to go through the whole thing, but just remember that part. So we're going to go to Genesis 2. And Genesis 2, we should go to the section where he says, creation of woman. Now, as we already know, okay, so we're gonna go to the creation of man, right? Now, the reason why I'm doing this step by step because I want nobody to get confused. I wanted to make sure we understand how the creation of man came to play and all that good stuff. Because once I start adding the nature into it, I don't want y'all to be like, oh well, God could. No, 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 no. God said He made these things. Okay, He made the planet. He made the star. The firmament. He didn't say He made water, but the water was on top of the earth. He made grass, man, everything, right? He made all of these good stuff. Now we have Genesis 1. He just said He made man and woman, he, him, in one setting. It's just one setting. He didn't have no details. He just said He made man in their image, he, him, male and female. That's Genesis 1. In Genesis 2, He said He did the same thing, the creation, the everything. Now, this time He went into more detail, I guess. And then He said He created the planet Earth, the firmament, the all the animals, the trees, everything on top of it, right? And then He come to the section where He said He created man, right? And then where He created everything, and then He goes into where He said He created man. And said God went into the mist from the earth. Now this is after He created the earth. Everything is done. And I guess He's just looking over His creation. Everything that He created, He's just checking it out. He's back checking His footprint, making sure everything is working properly, everything is in place. And then we in chapter 4, verse 6. He said, but where He went upon the mist from the earth and the waters of a whole face of the ground. So I guess He was floating over floating over His land, the earth or whatever. And He was just kind of checking out things, making sure everything is okay, just looking at it and looking down on the ground. He came across a mist, where there was like mist, like fog or whatever. And then once the fog, He went through the fog and it cleared up and He looked a little closer. The water was like shallow on the ground, right? Now, that's not what it says, but that's my vision of, what He's saying, right? The water of the face, the water, the whole face of the ground. I mean, I don't know who wrote this, but I think they were trying to translate the Bible, but they just was trying to make it sound confusing. But I mean, I have other books, and the books make it a little bit more easier to understand. He basically just, they say God was floating in the other books. He said He was floating, and He was looking on the face of the earth, and in the shallow of the water, or like the mud or whatever, there was water. Say it was another chapter say it was raining. I think in the uh, damn, what you call it? The Ethiopian Bible, it says it was raining. And as the rain was clearing, after, with, from raining, he was looking at the, the ground, and he saw a face in the mud, which means, when rain come on the ground, it might create a little puddle of water, and, it look like mud or whatever. He said he saw her face in the ground. Okay. Man, I wish I could see what you guys writing, man. And peace out to everybody. Peace out to everybody. Peace to everybody. So he said he saw a face in the ground. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground. So nobody can say God didn't make man from earth. He didn't just place a human being. Remember, in Genesis 1, he said, let's make man in their image. In their image. Right? And he made him in their image. In the second chapter, he said they're gonna make man, right? Matter of fact, he didn't even go into the conversation of say what he gonna do. He just said they're gonna have some rain, and the rain was falling and drying up or whatever. He was floating over the earth, and then he saw some muddy water, and in the muddy water he saw image of a man. Now that's my translation. That's not exactly what the Bible said, but that's my translation versus what I'm reading. And in the mud he saw the face, and in the face that he saw, right, the image of a face, and the Lord God formed man. Now Genesis 1 said he made man in his image. Keyword, he give a direct descriptive of what man look like, or what man should be a representation of, which is a representation of God himself, his people. Because he said like us. So whatever God look like, whatever women look like in the God way, Adam and Eve supposed to look like those people. In Genesis 2, he didn't say that. Genesis 2, he didn't say nothing about image or nothing like that. Not in the creation section. Right? Now, after he said he created man from the ground, sculpted him out in mud, like the clay, took the clay shape of a man, and then he blew breath into his nostrils, the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Okay. Now, that's another problem. Because the first chapter, he never said he gave man life, or he blow in his nostrils or anything like that. He didn't do none of that. He just said he made them. So this is the conversation. This is the question I have from Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. Did God made the first he, him, right? The God made the first man, he, him, but he didn't give them life. He just made like an image, or like a clay body or whatever, a statue, right? And then he left them. I guess he was playing Dolly House or something, right? He was playing, let's make a human, right? Or let's make people in our image. 'Cause people make like statues or mannequins, or so they don't feel like they're alone. They want somebody to talk to, right? And then second chapter Genesis, he said he came back again, and I guess he forgot he made these images, or maybe it was a different God who made these images. We don't know. And then when God was finishing up doing his work with the planet Earth, with all the waters, the fish, the animals, all that good stuff, and he saw this image in the ground, and then he's like, oh, wow, that's amazing. I never thought about that. And then he said, you know what I could do with this? It looks like a human being. It looks like me. So let me give it life. That's just my assumption. Generally, nobody knows how humans came up on this planet. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. This God story is just a made up story. Okay, and it's very entertaining. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I do like it. It's very entertaining story. It's the best story of the world, right? In humankind or nature, whatever you want to think about it, right? It's the best story. It's really entertaining, but it's not a real story. It's not based on a real event, right? Oh, you could say, okay, hold on, let me take that back. You could say it based on some, you could say somewhat of a true story, but a lot of the story was highly fabricated. Let me put it like that. Highly fabricated. Now back to what I was playing because I don't want nobody to get lost in the sauce. So let's go back to the beginning. I'm gonna go over it again. Genesis 1, God said, let's make man in our image. He created him in their image, the people that look like them. He created man and woman that look like them, like God, right? 2, Genesis 2. He didn't mention about let's create a man in our image. I don't remember seeing that. But he said, as he was finished doing everything he had to do, he was cruising the ground, and then he saw a shape of a man in the mud, and then he took the mud and made a real. Well, he didn't say. Let me read that again. So yeah, he found man of the dust. So he saw the face. So the second translation about the face, besides finding the clay guy or whatever, is he look in the mud. It's okay. You know when a little kid, can't really, they're not fully are able to analyze themselves, and they're amused by the reflection in the water, and the water could be shallow on the ground, right? But they could see their reflection in the water. That's like what God did. He was looking in the mud and he saw his reflection in the water and he saw himself, right? And he says, you know what? I'm going to make somebody that looks like me. So to me, that's what he did for the second story. That's the second story. That's the second Genesis. That's how he created man, second Genesis. And then after he created out of mud, he created man out of mud. Then he blew air, the breath of life, into his nostril. The breath is air. Okay? And then man became a living soul. When a woman have a baby and the baby comes out the womb, there's the oxygen, aka air, is what give that baby a soul. Or the energy. If you want to use that word, we could say energy. The air is like the fuel for life, or for the functionality of human beings. We should be worshiping air. We should worship the air that we breathe. Because without it, we ain't going to be humans. We're not going to be alive. We wouldn't be here today. All right. I don't want to stick on this too long. So as we can see, that's how God created man. He blew some life into him. He got a soul now. Now I want to go to where he created woman, right? So after he created man, he went back to do to the East Garden. He put man where he had found him. Yeah, he got food, fruits. He did all that good stuff. Animals. He went into details, and he had Adam name all the animals, all of that good stuff. But then Adam seems to be lonely. And then here's where he created woman. So Adam was lonely. It's already confusing how he made Adam alone, right? Adam was made from mud, and then he blew life into Adam from his breath. Now, the first Genesis, he just made them. He didn't blow no life, he didn't do nothing, he just made them. The second Genesis, he made Adam first from mud, and then he blew life into him. And he became alive. To make In the first Genesis, he made man and woman together. The second Genesis, he made man first, then he made woman. Because in the second Genesis, chapter 21, I would say, yes, chapter 20, Genesis 2, chapter 21, or verse 21, I would say, verse 21. And God put out God, and the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. Anesthesia, right? And he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed it up, the flesh instead thereof. See, that part is a little confusing right there, but what he mean by he slept, okay, and God took one of his ribs and closed it up, the flesh instead thereof. Okay, let's just say he closed up the flesh. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, he made woman and brought her into the man. And brought her unto, okay, I said into, my bad, I said the wrong word. It was unto. I said into. unto. Okay, so yeah, I had a rough night, man. I'm still a little sleepy, but I needed to do this video because I've been planning to do it for a while. So, excuse me if I'm a little sleepy with it. I might sound a little drawn, but I have to do this video because I don't want to forget it. All right, so now he put Adam to sleep. He pulled his rib out, one rib on the left side, I think it is, right? The left side or the right side? I think it's I don't remember. I think it's the little right side. Yeah, I think it's the right side. And anyway, he pulled his rib out, and with that one rib, he created woman, and then he told woman to go unto man. Now, and Adam said, "This is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall become womb. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man." Now, in the first Genesis, it just said man and woman, he, him. And after he said he, him, he said male, female. So he is him, man. He is man, him is female. That's the way I translate it. That's the way I saw it. That's my translation. In the second Genesis, in the first Genesis, after he created man and woman, he told them to just go out and multiply. He didn't do nothing. He didn't take no ribs. He didn't do none of that. The second Genesis, he created man from mud. He never created man and woman at the same time. He created man from mud. And then he blew into life to give him blow air into his breath, into his mouth, so he can have the breath of life, or he could have a soul, aka, right? Then after he did that, after he gave Adam life, from mud and all that stuff, he said Adam was lonely, and he put Adam to sleep again, anesthesia, and then took a rib out. That's like doing kidney, what they call it, kidneys, or the people go and try to take your kidneys and sell them and stuff. But anyway, he took his rib out, and then close it back up, stitch it back up real nice and sweet, and then God made woman from his rib. Some scientific I would say, android, right? He did some kind of scientific development where he can use a part, just piece of your body part to, DNA, as you would say, to create another human. Now, after he created Eve, he told Eve to go to the man, to go to Adam. And then once Adam realized, he woke up and he see another woman there, he no longer alone. So he said now he's gonna call this woman, he gonna call this other person woman. And she is now bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh. She should, and she should be, because she was taken from man. Therefore, shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall leave unto his wife, and should cleave unto his wife. Now, this part is important. This is what the relationship part, like I was trying to say, how the Bible disrupt relationships, right? Now, the Bible story is saying that when a man, first of all, remember the woman is to be attached to the man because she is part of him, right? There's something missing here, but we're gonna try and pull it up. If I don't see it, I'm gonna call it out, but I don't want to say it right now. So as I said, Adam. Now God didn't tell woman what her job is. God did not tell the woman what her role is to Adam. He told Adam what he's supposed to do, but he did not tell the female anything. He just made her, and the only thing he said to her is go on to man. He didn't even call him Adam. He told him go on to man. And Adam said to her, this is now bone of my bone, which means she's me. She's part of me. And flesh of my flesh, which means she's part of me. She shall be called woman because she was taken from me, which means he basically owns her, if that's the case. Therefore shall man leave his, and then he goes on to the verse 24. Now verse 24 is going into the relationship factor, marriage, all of that good stuff. And this is the part where we're going to kind of like really touch on for a good bit. So in this part right here, where he says, there shall a man leave his fathers and mothers. Now, where's the father and mother in the first place? There ain't no father and no mother. It's just Adam and Eve. So why he mention that? You know what I'm saying? Why did he mention that? God didn't punish them until they eat of the tree. You know what I'm saying? That's a little confusing right there. Anyhow, or maybe he, you know what? Let me fall back. Maybe he's saying that in the God world, this is how they do it in the God world. So he's telling Adam, this is how you're going to do it in the human world, right? That's just my hypothetical. I'm not sure. So I'm going to read it again. So therefore, shall a man cleave to his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife. So he gonna desire his mother and father. The way how he desire his mother and father is the way he gonna desire his woman. She's gonna now replace the feeling, or she gonna be a part of the feeling that he have for his mother and father. And they shall be one flesh. So between the man and the woman, they're gonna become one flesh. They were both naked, and the man and his wife were not ashamed. Now he used the word wife. There was no ceremony, right? God didn't say they had sex yet. He didn't tell them to multiply yet. He didn't say that's what he said in Genesis. But he didn't say this in Genesis 2. He just told them to, you know, you're married now. And you're gonna love her like you love your mother and your father. But Adam and Eve, Adam ain't have a mother. Adam do not have a mother. So how are you gonna mimic the love and the favor? Remember, these are relationship conversations. This is a relationship conversation. Children have a relationship with their mother and father. It's a bond that they have, which is a relationship to their mother and father, right? It's a bond that you have with your God. It's a relationship. You have a relationship with your God, right? How are you gonna tell Adam, who was made from mud, that you made from mud, that he's gonna cleave to something that he never had? He don't even, he was born a man. He didn't even have a childhood. You see what I'm saying? This man didn't even have a childhood. I wanted to see the chat, but I can't see the chat. I can't see the chat. But yeah, so yeah, so Adam never had a childhood, so how he gonna have a mother and a father? How? Somebody gotta explain that to me. How you gonna have a relationship to a mother and a father when he never had one? He was born out of clay. And this is what I'm saying. I want to put common sense into sense. It's sad, like the way how this book has been written for people to believe these fantasy stories. Remember, they're just stories that have some kind of like mimication of reality, but it's not a fact. It didn't happen exactly the same way, right? It's the same concept of how a lot of people think today. People use opinion and their own thoughts of things, but don't have the knowledge on it. They don't have no understanding of it. They just like, I feel this way and that's what it is. But then you can't base things on your feelings because it doesn't work, and it causes more problems. It's why a lot of people getting killed. Some go to jail, or bad things happen to people because people make up fake stories and they have no proof behind it. And we need to stop doing that. We actually killing ourselves by making up beliefs, false beliefs, without any factual information or whatever, and just be like, oh well, long as it ain't me. So your job is to just go around and disrupt people's lives and just get away with it, and just, hey, who cares? That's survival of the fittest, but you're the one who causing the problem. All right. That was a little side note. Let's get back to it. I don't see how a man gonna cling to his mother and father when he never had a mother and a father. And if he's considering God to be his father, then they need to describe his mother as well. Um, going into chapter 4. Yeah, going into chapter 4. Not chapter 4. 25. Chapter 25. My bad, I said 20. It's supposed to be. And they were both naked, and man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. So the wife part now, I kind of agree to it somewhat that once a man and a woman come together, most likely once they have, intercourse, That's their marriage. That's the old school way. That's the nature old school way, right? That's the old school way. So today we don't do that. Today you gotta get married. You have to have some kind of traditional idea, stuff like that. They started doing with the ring thing. You have to put a ring on the finger, or you could do. In some countries they do like a band or a hat or whatever it is they use, a tattoo. It depends on where you are. Now, God never said there was some kind of symbolism to show their marriage, right? He never did that. Right? He never did that. Let me see. Chapter 3. And then they went on to the serpent, right? And then they move on to the serpent conversation. Now the serpent was more subtle and than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. Now, why would the God made a serpent? You see what I'm talking about? Like, wow. If you just made a complicated situation, it's already complicated and confusing. But then you're gonna go make this is what he said. Now the serpent was more subtle, and than any beast of the field. The Lord God had made. Really, He made it. And He said unto the woman, Yea, had God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. So you went from making man and woman, no mud, nothing. Then you skipped that part and you said, you know what, let's do it again. And then you made man first from the mud. And then you see then man, I guess he got bored and you made woman. But you made woman from the rib of the man, right? And then in the fourth part you said that's their relationship, and man should cleave to his woman as if he cleaved to his mother and father. Adam didn't have a mother and father, so why you mention that? You know why he mentioned that? Because there was people on the planet already, naturalistic human beings, right, that looks just like him already, was living on the planet Earth, having wives already. And they was having children. That's the reason. You gotta make sense. How could you mimic something if you don't have nothing to mimic by? Why are you saying things that you have never seen? And if that's the case, he said, man, this is the best storyteller in the world. You know what I'm saying? He's the best storyteller. And then you move on to say you made the beast for you to manipulate the woman. To the point where Adam and Eve had to they got into their first little quarrel, the first little argument. Why did you eat from the tree? Then God told you not to do it. And she said, boy, just taste this and shut up. You know what I'm saying? And God even teased them and tested them. He said, eat of every tree but this one. Why put the tree there in the first place? You didn't need it. This book, man. Like I said, man, I don't know why people make this. I don't know why people could find this. It's a story. It's a good story. I have nothing against the fact that it's a good story to read, a good story to kind of like analyze and mimic and have some idea what the history was like. Because it tells you what was. It kind of break down some of the things in the past. They have actual places and stuff is in there, right? But some of the story doesn't. It just doesn't line up. And the fact that we have to really believe that is weird. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. Anyway, so moving forward. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the garden, but, but what? And the serpent said unto the woman, we may not eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the. So the serpent is even giving them more temptation. And I'm not going to really go any further than that, right? Actually, no. I got to go because I want to get to the point where she ate the fruit and, God told him not to eat it. Ye touch, if they eat the fruit, they will die. So they ate the fruit, and both their eyes was open, and they see that they were naked, and they covered themselves with fig leaves. All right. Now, after they didn't eat the fruit, God came back from work. He came back from work, and they was running and hiding, trying to hide from God, right? So they was afraid. So God was looking for them, and they was afraid to show themselves because they know they are eating from the trees, and they was also naked. And his and God might be a little weird because he had his creation. They were adult people, but he didn't want them to put on clothes. He wanted them to be naked. Mm, that says a lot. Why didn't he want them to put on clothes? Yeah, that's crazy. So after in this context, so as you can see, once he finally talked to them, and got he said told him that if he was in the, he said, yeah, Eve made me do it. Yeah, so God was pretty mad that they eat from the tree, and he kicked them out. Now, before he kicked them out, he said, whereof I commanded thee, and that thou shalt not eat. And then the man said, the woman shall thou harvest to will go harvest. Yeah, the woman who thou gavest to be with me, he gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord said, in too deep. All right, that is that. That. So she said the serpent seduced her and he made her eat from it. And God said, because you listened to the serpent, even I told you not to do it. So God cursed her and basically all this, he cursed. So God cursed her above all cattle and above all beasts. No, we're talking about the serpent. Which is. Alright, and then we put the okay now. So yeah, this is the part I was looking for. Yeah. So after God done, find out that they ate from the tree, they was all be naked and stuff. God was mad and he said, you know what, y'all gotta go. And God put empty between them, which means they're gonna have arguments, they're gonna have disagreements and all that good stuff. Right, that's what they're gonna do. Okay. Alright. Alright, so we come into the part, the punishment. So we come into the part where I say he disrupted relationship. Despite this, yeah, he disrupted relationship in the most naturalist structural way. So in nature, I mean, it was already established that man and woman can come together, or the man can have multiple women. So it's already established for that to happen, right? What God did was he saw the story upon humankind, and he decided to mimic it or create his own people. That's what I see. That's how I view this story. God created his own people, right? And in the context of that, yeah, if you have people already doing the relationship thing and it's working, what I'm saying, man, woman, children, the man working hard for his children, he making sure the woman do what she's supposed to do. What makes you think you're gonna do it to the other humans the same way as intelligent or they're just intelligent or more? Like you live in a certain, but you're gonna need service and all these different things. You're not gonna last long. You're gonna get rotted out. You're gonna get rotted out. You're not supposed to, you know, be a robot. I mean, it's just not gonna work. But anyway, why not just be honest about the thing and just be like, listen, Jesus, you just got into a car accident and you the big man. We gonna take you, boom. Versus the videos that we do see as the ones that we see as the structure of Genesis relationship. All the books doesn't say the same thing. They're so confusing. The books have different wording, different wordplay, and it seems very confusing. So you should keep it very simple where it's at. Stop trying to add too much to it and too little. Act very strongly, greatly to it. So in that case, he said, woman gonna bear a lot of pain and all this stuff from having birth, and men supposed to, lose, that stuff. That's it for one. Yeah, man. I think I'm gonna end it here. But so before I go though, I just want to put it like this. So nature is already structured for humankind to be fully multiply and operational on this planet Earth, right? We don't need somebody to come in and change the narrative to the story to their own likeness, to their own understanding. Because that's what's happening here. Somebody created a story to bamboozle the people and make them feel like this is the only way to do something when these people already had their own traditions. I'm not saying back in the day it probably didn't have a lot of, you know, people probably who just didn't have a good civilization, but obviously we did. And those people were supposed to learn from those people. But for some reason, people took the lifestyle of the people that they have and just like, mm, so that's how that goes. Listen, man, that thing is giving me a headache. And he's talking about thorns and also the thirst shall bring you forth your knees. Anyway, I think I'm going to end it here. We're going to have to finish this another day. Yeah, man, God is a problem, man. He's mimicking things that are already being done on earth and try to implement it in his book so he can have his own regime or basically take on the narrative of God, right? Oh. But anyway, so as we know, so we're going to end it right here. I'm not even going to go anymore. I'm going to have to finish this, like, do a part two to this. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Let me know how you guys feel, and then we could talk about it. Sorry I didn't get to see a lot of the chat because the back screen is white, and the text that's coming through is white, so it's like it's blending. Well, I appreciate anybody who actually came in and hanged out with me, and hopefully, if anybody want to actually have a real one-on-one conversation, I don't mind doing that as well. Just send me a link or email. Just let me know, if you want to, leave me a message in the chat, and let me know if you want to have a conversation and we could talk about it, and then we could break down some of this information. All right, with that said, peace out.